if they're like most people, when you listen to a classic jazz tune, your ears probably go right to the flashy stuff.
Oh, for sure. The saxophone, the drums, maybe the piano.
Exactly. But there's this huge unsung hero in the background kind of anchoring the whole thing.
The engine of the song.
The engine, yeah. It's the rhythmic heartbeat of jazz. The double bass.
And that's what we're going to get into today. It's this instrument we all hear, but maybe don't really listen to.
Right.
So we want to understand how this giant thing actually works, why it sounds the way it does, and how it ends up being the foundation for, one of the most exciting kinds of music ever created.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. We're in early 20th century New Orleans. You have these big bands, right? Marching bands.
Yep. And they needed something big and loud for that low end.
And at first, that wasn't the double bass. It was a brass instrument, wasn't it?
It was. It was the tuba. It makes sense, right? A tuba is loud, you can carry it in a parade, and it definitely gives you those low notes.
But the sound is different. It's very oompa, very blunt.
Exactly. It's more of a martial booming sound.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the soul or the flexibility that jazz needed as it started to evolve.
So when did this giant wooden cello on steroids thing take over?
Well, the big change happened when jazz moved from the streets into buildings.
Into dance halls and clubs.
Right. And all of a sudden, that booming tuba was it was too much. It was clumsy. You couldn't get any nuance out of it.
And the double bass could offer something else.
Something revolutionary, really. A warmer sound, this beautiful acoustic resonance, and it allowed for a much more subtle, swinging kind of rhythm.
So that switch from tuba to bass, that was a huge deal for the sound of jazz.
I'd say it's one of the defining moments. It's where we get that classic jazz sound we all know.
We really need to talk about the sheer size of this instrument. It is a monster.
It really is.
It's the biggest and lowest pitched string instrument you'll see in a jazz band. We're talking about something that's usually around 6 feet tall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have to think of it as basically a giant, hollow wooden box.
A sound box.
Its whole job is to take the tiny vibrations from the strings and naturally amplify them into those deep, rich notes you can feel in your chest.
And it's got 4 super heavy strings. They're tuned E, D, and G from lowest to highest.
Right. And because it's so big, you can't just sit down with it like a guitar. The player has to stand up or maybe use a really high stool just to be able to play it properly.
That sounds physically demanding.
Oh, it is. The instrument is heavy, it's delicate, and you're fighting the tension of those thick strings the entire time you're playing.
Wow.
It takes a lot of strength just to get a good sound out of it for a whole night.
Now, there's a technical detail here that's really important for the music. You might see a full-size bass, a 4/4, but most jazz players use a slightly smaller one, right?
Yeah, the 3/4 or 34 size.
Okay.
And there's a very specific reason for that.
Which is?
It's all about speed and agility. The full-size bass is louder, sure, but it's a little clumsier to play. The 34 bass is still huge. We're talking about 71 inches tall, but the scale length is the part of the string that actually vibrates is a little shorter.
And that makes a difference.
A huge difference. That slightly shorter distance means the player can move their hand up and down the neck much, much faster. If you want to play those lightning-fast bebop lines, you pretty much need a 34 size.
So that small change in size is actually crucial for the style of music.
It's everything.
Okay, so it's massive, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sound. In a classical orchestra, you see the bassist using a bow. But in jazz, you almost never see a bow.
Almost never. That technique is called pizzicato.
Which is just a fancy word for...
For plucking. Plucking the strings with your fingers.
Yeah.
And for jazz, it's absolutely essential.
Why? What does it do?
It's all about rhythm. When you pluck the string, you get this sharp percussive attack, a little thump, and then a warm ringing note that fades out.
So it gives a really clear beat.
Crystal clear. It defines the pulse. Remember, jazz started as dance music. A bow just kind of mushes the notes together, but plucking gives you that sharp downbeat you can dance to.
And plucking those thick strings for hours, I'm picturing some serious calluses.
No, it is intensely physical. Bass players are famous for their calluses. You're using your index and middle fingers to pull on these high-tension strings all night long.
It's a workout.
It is. If you stop practicing for even a few days, you lose that finger strength really fast. It's a constant battle.
Okay, so this brings us to the main job of the bassist, the walking bass line.
Walking bass line. This is the foundation that almost all of jazz is built on.
And it really sounds like it's walking, right?
That's exactly it. It's a steady flow of notes, one note for every beat, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's always moving, walking up and down the scales and outlining the chords.
So it's not just a steady beat, like a metronome. It's doing more than that.
That's the magic of it, yeah. It's serving two jobs at once. First, it's the rhythmic drive. It's the thing that makes you want to tap your foot.
And second?
Second, it's providing the harmonic foundation. It's the musical backbone.
Meaning what, exactly?
Every single note the bassist chooses is meant to outline the specific chord the band is playing in that moment. So it's not random notes.
So if the piano player changes from, say, a C chord to an F chord,
The bassist immediately shifts their line to play notes that fit that F chord. They're basically telling everyone else in the band, hey, this is the chord we're on now.
so it's like musical glue.
Perfect way to put it. It keeps the pulse steady, but it also guides the harmony. It keeps the soloists from getting lost. Without that walking line, the whole thing would just fall apart.
Which means the bassist has to be locked in with the rest of the rhythm section.
Oh, completely. The rhythm section is a team. It's usually drums, piano, and the bass. And their whole job is to support the soloists, like a saxophone or trumpet player.
And within that team, you've said the bass acts as a kind of bridge. What does that mean?
Okay, so think of it this way. The drummer is setting the time, the pulse with cymbals and snares. The pianist is playing the complex chords, the harmony.
Right.
The bassist is the bridge that connects them. They take the raw rhythm from the drummer and turn it into actual musical notes that support the chords from the piano.
They're speaking both languages at once.
Exactly. Which is why a great jazz bassist has to be a phenomenal listener.
Yeah.
They can't just be in their own little world. They have to hear everything the drummer and the pianist are doing and react instantly. They're the anchor.
So a big challenge with this instrument has to be just being heard. It's an acoustic instrument. If you've got loud drums and horns, how do you not get completely drowned out?
That is the age-old problem.
Yeah.
And you're right, in a big band, you'd be totally lost.
There's technology to the rescue.
Technology to the rescue.
Yeah.
They use a little device called a pickup.
Okay, what's a pickup?
It's a small electronic microphone, basically, that you attach to the bass, usually on the bridge. It captures the vibrations of the strings directly.
It sends that signal to an amplifier.
Exactly. And the key is to do it without changing the sound. The goal isn't to sound like an electric guitar. It's just to make that beautiful, natural, woody tone of the instrument loud enough for everyone to hear.
It's amazing how the role of the bass changed so much through the different eras of jazz. You mentioned swing earlier.
Yeah, in the swing era, the 30s and 40s, the bass lines are often really simple, just root notes. Very solid, very predictable, perfect for giant dance orchestras. The job was 100% about the pulse.
But then bebop happened.
And everything got way faster and way more complicated.
Frantic, even.
Totally. The tempo shot up, the harmonies got really complex, and the bass player had to keep up. The lines got faster, more intricate. It was a huge technical leap for bassists.
And then things calmed down again with cool jazz.
Right. And the role changed again. The bass lines became more melodic, more relaxed. The tone got softer. It was more about creating a mood.
It really shows how versatile the instrument is.
For sure. And even when fusion came along, and some people switched to the electric bass, a lot of players stuck with the upright. Just because that acoustic sound is so special, you can't replace it.
So most of the time, the bassist is in a support role. But then they get a solo.
And that's when you really see what they can do.
The whole band changes, right?
The whole dynamic shifts. Everybody else plays much more quietly to let those low notes come through. And the bassist gets to step into the spotlight.
And it's not just about playing fast.
No, not at all. A great solo is about melody, harmony, rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll even use percussive slaps against the fingerboard to add some excitement.
It must take incredible creativity to switch from being the foundation to suddenly being the star of the show.
It does. And it takes years and years of very specific training.
Why so specific?
Well, think about a guitar. It has those little metal bars on the neck,
Mm-hmm.
right? Frets.
Right, they show you where the notes are.
The double bass has none of that. It's a smooth, fretless fingerboard.
So to play a note perfectly in tune,
You need an incredibly accurate ear and a perfect memory of exactly where to put your hand. A millimeter off, and the note is wrong. It's all muscle memory and listening.
that sounds incredibly difficult.
It is. Plus, you're still fighting those heavy strings with your left hand, pushing them down, often at crazy speeds. It's a very physically demanding instrument all around.
So despite all that, there are these pioneers who just completely changed how the instrument was played. We have to mention Jimmy Blanton.
Oh, absolutely. Jimmy Blanton is maybe the most important figure. He played with Duke Ellington in the late 30s.
And what did he do that was so new?
Before him, bass players just played time. Thump,
Mary.
thump. Blanton started playing actual melodies. He played counter melodies against what the horns were doing. He showed everyone that the bass could be a solo instrument, a real voice.
He broke it out of its shell.
Completely. A total game changer, even though his career was tragically short.
And then you have a guy like Ray Brown.
Ray Brown is the definition of swing. His timing was perfect. His note choices were always perfect. He was never flashy, just solid. The master of the walking bass line.
Then there's Charles Mingus, who is just a force of nature.
Mingus was something else entirely.
Uh,
A virtuoso player, but also a genius composer. His playing could be incredibly aggressive and bluesy, but it was always in service of his powerful, emotional music. He proved the bass could be the compositional core of a band.
and we should mention Paul Chambers.
Mr. PC.
Hmm.
Yeah, Paul Chambers was on hundreds of classic albums, flawless timing, always right in the pocket.
Mm.
And he was famous for using the bow in his solos, which was pretty rare. He brought this classical lyricism to jazz.
It's these guys who really wrote the book on how to play jazz bass.
He did. Everything we've talked about, they defined it.
So even now, when you can get an electric bass that's lighter and louder and probably cheaper,
The acoustic double bass is still the standard, still the sound of jazz.
why do you think that is?
Because nothing has ever managed to replicate that natural, warm, woody resonance. There's a character to it, a depth that just grounds the music in a way nothing else can.
So the next time you hear a jazz band, really listen for it. The double bass isn't just playing the low notes.
Not at all.
It's this amazing instrument that is somehow both the subtle foundation of the harmony and the powerful driving heartbeat of the rhythm. It's the silent leader that lets everyone else sound good.
It's the ultimate foundation.
Yeah.
And it is never going out of style.
Keep exploring music and finding your groove. See you next time.